the IPCC has put out a report today, and the IPCC is basically talking about the health issues that are coming with climate change. They've talked about rising temperatures, and here rising temperatures and more heavy rainfall are damaging to health. For instance, heavy rainfall increases the chances New Zealand children will have to be admitted to hospital with gut infections. There's a bunch of research on that. People can look it up themselves if they want to talk about it. I wanted to have a look at a couple of things. The first was actually what's happening in Australia at the moment with floods. And I guess, I don't know, Penny, I don't think we can necessarily say this is 100% due to climate change, but we're talking about more floods, more rainfall, more water. And let me just play a bit of this. This is what's happening in Australia as we speak.
Morning, Melissa. Yeah, it is actually quite incredible to see what is happening in this small town of Lisbon in northern New South Wales. It's about the size of Gisborne, a population of 43,000 people, and it's known to flood, but these are the worst floods on record. People are literally standing on their roofs waiting to be rescued by helicopters and boats. One roof, we've seen a video from someone's iPhone who's on that roof, and there's 26 of them standing on that roof waiting to be rescued. In another video, we've seen someone literally cutting the corrugated iron out of their roof to get up onto safety. And of course, many of the people in the town, a lot of them are elderly, quite frail. Some people might not be able to get up onto their roofs for safety. So at the moment, we know there are reports of around 400 people who are missing in that area. They've brought in the Australian Defence Force to help with those rescue efforts, 200 ADF are on the ground helping, but a very terrifying situation in that town at the moment. It is completely cut off. Is it just
so I mean, that's a story in and of itself, purely talking about the story of the floods, but tying it back to the IPCC and what they're saying, I guess that's also an example of the kinds of things that we could be potentially seeing more and more of. I'll get through all this content first, Penny, then I'll throw it to you just so we know everything. So the government has come out and they've also made a couple of, they've made some, because that's the part of it. There's the part about the health issues that come with the climate change, the changes in climate change, and there's the New Zealand response to it. Now, there's also an element of this story from a couple of weeks ago, which is government agencies within government agencies responding to New Zealand's government targets, because it appears what's happening is the government saying one thing, and then government agencies are saying, nah, I don't know if that's possible. So their own agencies are kind of pushing back a little bit. This was from a couple of weeks ago, but I think it's important to put out there, and then we'll spend a few minutes talking about it. So have a listen. This is James Shaw. He was at a conference a while ago, but this audio video is more about the response that government agencies are giving the government about the government targets within climate change.
Glasgow was the biggest climate summit since the Paris Agreement in 2015. And just before Shaw left to attend it, he promised we'd cut greenhouse gas emissions by 50% by 2030.
We did go to the point that we felt that we were able to do.
But New South can reveal his own officials don't think we were able to go to that point. In advice to Shaw, the Ministry for the Environment, the climate change experts said cutting emissions beyond even 40% had significant uncertainties and risks of non-delivery. The Treasury, the finance experts, said cutting by even 45% had significant fiscal and economic risks that will have to be met by higher taxes and or the offsetting of other government expenditure. And MB, the Super Business Ministry, was concerned there had been insufficient analysis undertaken to understand the fiscal and social impacts of a 45% reduction.
Why make a
So it seems that let's just get this last comment actually, because he doesn't answer the question. He says they get asked why we made targets that are unattainable, and he says
for something that we can't actually achieve.
Well, we believe that we can achieve it.
40%. Yeah, so that's the end of it. I don't think we'll have David Seymour, because anything he can get us about to score points, he will.
Yeah.
So we've got the government agencies around climate change saying we shouldn't be aiming beyond 40%. We've got the money people saying it will impact us significantly financially, and it looks like we've got MBIE talking about the social impacts being massive. So what do we do?
I mean, this is just it. And so we all do nothing. And so we do nothing. To me, I've become a Green Party voter in the last few years, just because it's like don't look up. Everybody just sits around and argues while a meteor is hurtling right at us, and it's going to cost money and it's going to be painful to people, and governments have to step up and stop being pussies and do something about it. Like, I am a cyclist. My husband is a cyclist. He's more of a cyclist than I am, a fair weather cyclist. But just the bullshit around trying to put a bloody bridge across the harbour so that people in Birkenhead can cycle or walk to work. God forbid the outrage around that. And that cost, yeah, it was a bit of a cost, but my word, compared to flooding Westport every bloody year, et cetera, it's like, we need to make some hard decisions, and we need to make some, and it's easy for me to say because it often comes back like with petrol taxes to those who can least afford it, who are driving between 2 hospital cleaning jobs and all that sort of stuff. But if we all just sit there and go, it's too hard, nothing changes. And that's what's been happening now.
Yeah, but I don't disagree with you. I guess what I hear in the government agencies, them going, your targets are they're too far. And I wonder if perhaps we've jumped, like he said 50%. I think one of the agencies said 40%. So make it 40%. So let's aim for something that even the experts are saying that it's attainable.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being aspirational. And maybe you won't hit that. But then of course the media will be like, you didn't get that. You're a failure. As opposed to you got to 41% or you got to 38%, which is still a fuck ton better than 0%.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's just, and it's been the same whenever. It's like you have to hit people in the pocket to change behavior. I wish you could just do it with their conscience, but you look at cigarette smoking, you look at petrol taxes and things like that, and incentives to get EVs and all that sort of stuff. It's like when you make something financially incentivized, that's when change happens. So to me, that's what's going to have to happen, as shit as it is. And I'll potentially complain about it and stuff too, but it's like, you know what? We have to do it. We have to do it. Someone has to make the hard decisions. And that's the problem with representative democracy with a 3-year election cycle, that everybody wants to get elected. So nobody makes some hard decisions, as we've seen, like with housing prices and capital gains tax and things like that.